Yeah, thought we were done talking about tight ends from earlier today. Well, out here at practice number 2, the American team, I got that wrong at the end of the last thing we did. We saw tight ends pop today. Andrew Mason, Cecil Lammey here on the scene at day 2 of Senior Bowl practice. Let's start with Mason Taylor, a guy who might be projecting late on day 2, but a really nice all-around tight end who looks really good on some of his routes today.
Yes, really good route runner. The athletic profile is there. He's Jason Taylor's son, right? Zach Thomas's nephew. So you know that the athletic profile is there with him. And it's more than the athleticism. It's the nuances for the game, finding soft spots in the zone. These are all the mental side of the tight end position, which is very complex because you basically have to know 3 positions. It's why it usually takes guys some time to get going in the NFL. But with Taylor, you definitely see the athletic profile and you see the smarts.
Speaking of finding gaps in the zone, Jake Briningstool out of Clemson, that's an area where he really excelled today, making a bunch of catches.
Was he, just the most consistent all the last couple of days? Perhaps you could make an argument that him or Ferguson were the most consistent of the tight ends and never really gaining that separation, but knowing how to use the body, knowing how to frame up, maybe elbow, little box out, little basketball action, if you will. So I know scouts in attendance must love that consistency from the Clemson product.
It's also consistency, but also both these guys getting better from day to day, which is something we look for as well, particularly Mason Taylor. I thought more consistent today than he was yesterday. Jackson Hawes, another tight end out of Georgia Tech, who flashed late in today's practice.
Yeah, and had the one-handed grab over on the sidelines. Made the crowd go excited. So that sort of athletic play, it's kind of what you're looking for in these practice formats. Can you do something outstanding? Can you make that play that maybe you didn't make on film? Can you do that here and give scouts something else to think about? Hawes is that guy today.
I mean, this is what we were talking about, I think, when we said this is a deep tight end class. That Tyler Warren obviously is going to get the talk in the first round, but you're going to be able to find some guys, and it's why it is a legitimate question as to when you go tight end. Is the sweet spot actually day 2 rather than day 1, especially if you can't get Warren? He's almost certainly not going to slide to the Broncos at 20. If you can't get Warren, is the best play to get to day 2, where we're talking about guys like Fannin, Ferguson, Taylor, even Briningstool.
Yeah, and then get into day 3 and take another one. It's 2 and 2, Chuck Woolery draft for running backs and tight ends, and yeah, we got more running backs to talk about too.
I think we said it first, by the way, the notion of doubling up tight ends and running backs. To go to running backs for a moment, Trevor Etienne out of Georgia really stood out there in the one-on-ones against linebackers today.
Yes, he did. Now, not as good as his brother Travis, but Trevor Etienne is a guy that knows how to use his speed and to gain that separation, also maybe a little bit of a push-off too.
So like that, by the way. You like the little, what you can get away with, the little basketball elbow that sometimes goes uncalled.
Right. Well, and some of these guys, they don't yet know that, but Etienne, with his brother already in the NFL as a first-round pick, he knows those little kind of tricks to help himself get open.
A guy I want to talk about,
your guy,
not an every down guy, but Marcus Yarns out of Delaware, really flashing, quick, excellent route runner, excellent at generating separation in those one-on-one drills. But again, 189 pounds, you're not talking about him as an every down back, but is he somebody that you look at and say, okay, if you're going to bring in competition for Jaleel McLaughlin in terms of that smaller, sub-package gadget type of back, is Yarns someone who can do that? He did have some nice runs between the tackles, but clearly his strength is going to be outside. He looks like a very accomplished and very steady pass catcher.
Yeah, and it took note for you, and then we got to talk about this on Orange and Blue today, because do you need a Jaleel McLaughlin plus? Yeah. It's almost like that's what he is, but how does that factor in when McLaughlin's there and you trust him? Like, it's an interesting conversation because he's not a full-time back, but he's a playmaker.
Yeah. A couple of edges who flashed as well. Baron Sorrell out of Texas, Jared Ivey out of Ole Miss.
Yeah, and Sorrell with that last play made you almost jump out of your seat, right? As they do a little competition here to wrap up practice.
And then, yet, he had that, and then
the next rep
got stonewalled.
Yes, yeah. run it again,
Yeah.
and you weren't able to do that again. So Sorrell, a guy to watch there out of Texas. Jared Ivey's jumped out for 2 days for me with his multiple moves. Now, he doesn't stack them yet, and that's kind of the nuance you saw from a Baron Browning when he was at this game, where it's like you've got the first move, it's stunted, you go immediately to the second. You don't see that with Ivey, but he does have multiple moves. He can do one at a time, but if you teach him at the pro level, and this is a day 3 pick, you teach him at the pro level to stack that, then watch out. You might have something there.
All right. We'll have more coming up tonight on Orange and Blue Today. We're going to get over to the media day stuff coming up shortly. Talk to some of these guys one-on-one or in some small groups. Hoping for some one-on-ones, but it's going to be kind of a cluster over there. And, of course, I'll be out here on Thursday with more as they wrap up practice from here at the University of South Alabama in Mobile, Alabama. For Cease, I'm Mace. Thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you next time.